stop at a stop sign here. So, something else we sort of planned the show to recap what's going on in the microtransaction world, but also to sort of get into, I want to go maybe like back to basics for indies and talk a little bit about getting into game development, if in fact you've never done it. And I'm gonna say whether you have a development background or not. So,
yeah,
I think that's maybe something fun we can do. I've been developing games for a while now. I'm starting to make money at it, and you are just starting to crack the books open. So
yes, it seems like this could be a very, very interesting convo.
I would say we're not on opposite ends of the spectrum, but we're just at two very different points.
Yes.
So, tell me how it's going with you. Like you're at a point where, I mean, you work full time, you do the whole thing, but as a hobby, you're trying to get into some coding, and we're gonna probably get you started on Unity here soon. So, where you at and what you doing?
Oh, I just got pulled over.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yep. I just got $280. So
the fines are terrible. Yeah.
So far I've only had time to absorb the basics on this, but I mean, my mind is already spinning with the possibilities of, like, now since I've been looking at the way, just basic codes have gone, I can already, it's crazy. It's like, even though I'm looking at the first few words of a language, is the best way to say it. I understand why they chose to describe it like that. But I see the world that it's unleashing, and it's incredible to be able to feel like I'm a step closer to being able to take this fantastic machine that I've been using my whole life and like make it do something that's unique to me, something that I can dream up and say, hey, Mr. Computer, do this.
Right.
And it kind of demystifies it, and in some ways has started to make it less glamorous, like anything is when you start to look into it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, glory, the definition of glory is changing.
Yeah. Chris Hardwick calls it seeing through the Matrix code.
It's perfect.
He referred to, actually, I think he referred to going to Vegas that way. Like, you get through the casinos, you spend enough time there, and it's like, now everything's kind of gross, and, it's kind of messy thing, Yeah, so, and that's an interesting point already, because if you're just looking to start getting into this stuff, and you're looking at things like Game Maker and Unity, I don't want to knock either of those things, because I did have a little bit of programming under my belt when I started, but I started with Game Maker, and it was fine. But I feel like there's a little bit of a misleading idea out there that you can start game development long before you can program at all or script at all. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't really end up working that way. And that's a big departure from a lot of the advice you're going to hear. Like, a lot of people go like, just get started, you can do it, and it's mostly drag and drop, and everything's going to be fine. And you get into Game Maker, and I don't think you would finish your first game tutorial without writing some script. So
I see.
And that script, I think, looks a lot like JavaScript in Game Maker, and in Unity, it's C# or like a JavaScript knockoff that everyone hates. So I would say to people who think they're just going to, just feet first and run through Unity stuff and like, oh, it's drag and drop and I made this awesome Halo game. It's never going to happen that way. So think about languages you want to start with, and you're starting sort of with Python, is that right?
Yes, no, I am. Yep.
I think that's a great idea. Like, and not necessarily just because Python is really pretty clear syntax, like you usually know what you're looking at.
It's so far very, very easy to read this. I was amazed at how fast I was able to look at simple code after, a few paragraphs of someone describing the function. Right. And I was like, oh wow, this is cool. I'm looking right at this. It's already starting to make a ton of sense. It's laid out very logically.
Yeah. The other big reason I would say to start with something like Python is because Python can be used to do so many things. Like we've talked about, you can, if you need a bunch of files renamed, you can write a quick Python script. If I need a new video editing tool in Blender, I've done stuff like that in Python before. It's when I talked to the guys from Pixel Press who were creating like physical toys with blocks in these grids and stuff, and you would take a picture of it and that's processed a certain way. They wrote like a ton of that stuff with Python too. It's just as easy or as technical as you want to get. I wish Python had been more popular when I was first getting into programming when I was like a teenager. Like that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
So I think I started with HTML and then moved naturally into JavaScript, and both of those languages just kind of suck. Like it's.
I was thinking about saying that, man, because I attempted to do some stuff in HTML and have done very basic things in HTML, and I'm like, this is not user friendly.
Yeah, it's the worst.
It is not user friendly.
No. So, I do know some people who, to this day, they've found ways not to program, but sort of try to embrace the idea that you can program, because I don't think I've met anybody or worked with anybody who is serious about it and could never get it.